Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. I just did a video earlier, which I will link down below, and it was discussing clean bulks and recomping for athletes, particularly strength athletes, rather than traditional bulks and cuts, and not really cutting. And a lot of people debated with me on the recomposition, and they don't feel that it's possible for an intermediate and on. And what I want to point out there, when I'm discussing this for drug-free lifters, I'm not implying that it's a fast process. Because quite frankly, if you are an intermediate or advanced lifter and you're drug-free, you will never, ever make fast progress again until you grab that syringe. Accept it, get over it. It's the choice you make if you choose to stay drug-free. You have to live with that. But it can be done. And a lot of people try to say, oh, you're just using this excuse. You've worked with too many enhanced lifters that your perception is skewed there. And no, it's not skewed there because I have seen this done many times. And I know plenty of drug-free lifters who have done this. And here's the trick. If you guys recall two other videos I've done, I can't find the one where I discussed Martin Birkin. When he was recompositioning people, when he did the lean gains approach and he had all these clients and he put out his methods, he had people effectively recompositioning doing 5 lifts. You did 5 exercises per week. If you guys remember in the interview I did, which I'll also link down below, with Alex Fiata, who is a legitimate expert who works with elite level athletes working on his graduate degree in biomechanics right now, we were talking about when you're training in multiple disciplines of you have to learn to cut all the bullshit out. You have to cut down to the things that work and give you results and cut all the excess stuff out of your programming. When you start training in multiple disciplines, but the same also applies when you're trying to recomposition. The human body has finite amounts of recovery ability and adaptative ability. And there are thresholds to what it can adapt to. So when you're trying to recomposition, which is difficult to do for a non-novice drug-free lifter, you have to focus on what works. Your training has to be good, it has to include the basics, and you have to cut out all the bullshit. This is why bodybuilders almost always fail recomps. Look at any of the routines that you see by even some of the better natural pros, and I'm not going to discuss whether they're natural or not, some of them are, some of them aren't, and look at their programs, and you'll see that when you look at the programs that they use or they put out, that's why you guys can't recomp. You're trying to use those programs which pretty much require you to have great nutrition and be in a caloric surplus, and you don't have great nutrition when you're at maintenance calories for the week because you don't have a surplus. Your nutrition effectively sucks, no matter how good you think it is. You don't have a caloric surplus. You don't have extra energy to recover and to fuel growth. You don't have large margins for error in your training, and these programs suck. And if you think that you're going to recomposition by using some magazine program or one of these programs that have you doing 35 different lifts per week, if it works, you have amazing genetics. If you don't have amazing genetics, it's not going to work. You need a minimalist approach at that point. And your programming needs to be correct. And when I was making that video for athletes, I'm talking about athletes, people who are actually going to go use effective, proven training methods. They're not going to use the bullshit used in the bodybuilding world because it's bullshit. For the most part, it's terrible training programming. They're going to use proven effective methods. They're going to use programs that are written by experts, or they're going to go read several books on training programming, and they're going to write an effective periodized program to where you are forcing adaptation and trying to gain just 5 pounds on your squat every 10 or 12 weeks. But your programming has to be good. Your training has to be good. It has to focus on what works, and anything that doesn't work, you have to cut out because you can't afford to spend time trying to recover from and adapt to things that aren't giving you maximum stimulus. You've got to cut down to the basics. You've got to have good programming, good periodization, and you have to make it work. You can't use bullshit training to where you're doing 37 different lifts instead of just 5 to 10 very basic ones, your basic movements and the accessories you need to build upon those, and cutting everything else out. That's what you have to do to make a recomp work. And a lot of you are saying you failed recomps. That is largely the reason why. Your training programming wasn't good. Your exercise selection might not have been good, and you didn't have it properly programmed and periodized. And this is what I'm talking about when I say that training programming matters for an athlete who is trying to improve at their sport and get stronger without gaining body weight while they're gaining muscle and losing fat at the same time. This is where you better know what the hell you're doing with your training, and all of these other people who put out all this fluff bullshit, this bodybuilding nonsense that doesn't work. If you are using those methods, you will fail at this endeavor. All right, guys, so that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.